Good morning. Good morning. There we go. That's the Bangalore I know and love. So thank you, Mark, for the kind introduction. And thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here in the Mobile Developer Summit by Saltmarsh Media, which promises to be a rather exciting event. My name is Srikanth, Raju, and I'm in the Forum Nokia organization, as you heard. Just a little bit of background about myself. I have spent pretty much all my career in Silicon Valley, beginning as software developer and engineer in various different roles, beginning with Borland International, the tool vendor of those times, continuing with Oracle, then to Sun Microsystems, and then to Nokia. In my job, I travel around the world talking to developers like yourself, talking to bloggers, media, journalists, analysts, investor relations and industry analysts, industry observers and influencers in pretty much all the continents. And in doing so, it is a great opportunity for us to understand what exactly is happening in the world, not just in the world of developers or not just in the world of mobile, but in the world as a whole. Just as the book, World is Flat, very aptly titled book, laid it out, it is not much of a revelation if I say that the world indeed is flat. We are indeed talking about a level playing field in every possible way you can imagine. Just to give you an example, I was at Istanbul last week in another developer event just like this. I was sharing the stage with Comscore, a leading analyst firm, who basically threw up numbers on where mobile internet data is going, where the trending is actually happening here, point to a very clear fact. It is not just the United States or UK that's leading in this internet traffic or even specifically mobile internet traffic. It is India, China, Turkey, and Eastern European countries, Russia, Africa, are all neck to neck in this race for the hunger die-hard cricket fan. And that die-hard cricket fan is still alive in me 20 plus years after I left the country. As I said, I've been living in the US for over 20 years, and I became a rabid fan of the baseball and American football and what have you. So whenever I travel, or wherever I live in the world, I have to have that information, following whether VVS Lakshman and Harbhajan Singh are going to save the day for India, or if San Francisco Giants win the World Series and how. And if you think about it, Diwali, which we just celebrated last week, is celebrated by Indians all over the world. I myself had 2 Diwali parties in all the places, guess where? In Finland. 2 Diwali parties. And of course, there were the obligatory fireworks and crackers and stuff like that all our children played with, and some of us, we were just watching the specials on our mobile devices and so forth. A couple of years ago, I'm sure, I don't know if the developer Era's Bollywood or India games are here. In India, the passion can loosely be categorized into the ABCs, astrology, Bollywood, and cricket. No matter where Indians go, to whichever part of the world, you will see them gravitating towards one of these 3, depending on their age group and their preference at any given point of their life. Canadian operator Rogers realized the strength in the Indian population in Canada and the attraction that would be there for the devices, for the Nokia devices that they would sell to the Indian Canadian customers by bundling these kind of applications like Era's Bollywood and India games and so forth, and that was a big hit. Similarly, Chinese people are living all over the world. It's outside of China. Muslims are living all over the world outside of Saudi Arabian countries and in the Persian Gulf countries. So if you think about it, you can sit in the comfort of your house or home, as I said before, and still build an application that can have wings and wheels and move across geographical boundaries. Anyways, with that lengthy introduction, let me get to the meat of how exactly are we going to be able to do it and how we in Nokia can work with you in India to make what I just said happen in reality. Let's talk about it. I talked about this earlier. The mobile internet and the internet economy is a big thing, right? Not a revelation. Global mobile apps economy is $17.5 billion by 2012. Global mobile advertising market valued at $16 billion. There are over 4.6 billion mobile devices, out of which there are 1.3 billion Nokia devices in consumers' hands. What does it actually mean for a developer? Let's talk about it. Now, this is good. All those numbers are great. So the business is real business. It's not Mickey Mouse money we are talking about. Consumers want global apps. We established that. Now let's try to connect the two and talk about how. I will actually list that by hitting on 3 points. One, let's explore a bit more about what it actually means to have this global scale. Developers in local markets like Bangalore, and imagine that, replicating that to all possible geographical locations all across the world. And let's get to some concrete details here, getting to the levels of a simple 3-step process: design, develop, and distribute, so your applications can touch the global consumers for whom you are developing that app, for whom you are developing this experience. And finally, let's talk about exciting consumers, all right? The more we let consumers know that there are some cool stuff that they can consume from the devices, there are some great experiences they can have through their mobile devices, guess what? More power to us, developers. Beginning with global scale and local reach. Simply put, it means this: devices for more markets and access to consumers that allows you to deliver the content and the experience that is locally relevant to the consumer. Today, as far as this addressable market, I talked about this 1.3 billion Nokia devices across the planet. According to some measures, that means there are more people on this planet who have a Nokia phone than they have toothbrushes. Think about it, okay? That's great, but that's not the real number that I want you to get excited about. What I want you, developers, to get excited about are those devices that you can target and build an app, build an experience, and deliver it to the consumer. And that's this number. Still, astronomically huge number. From the Series 40 phones, we have, through the Series 40 phones, you have a reach of 500 million devices. Very capable of running cool Java apps, very capable of having very cool browser experience and whatnot. On the smartphones, that number translates to 175 million smartphones. And that includes the 50 million Symbian 3 devices that we are going to ship. Symbian 3 devices like the Nokia N8, the brand spanking new Nokia N8 I have in my hands. What that means here in the India market. As you all know, the Nokia N8, C7, C6, it's all out there. And pretty soon, the Nokia E7 will join the ranks. That means a well-designed application for any of those devices will cut through all those devices, and you instantly have 50 million consumers as your business targets, as your addressable market size. Okay, that's the power of talking global. This is a global footprint we are talking about. Now let's talk about it on the developer side of the equation. I mentioned before, 3 steps: design, develop, distribute. Design, any developer here will agree with me. You want to develop your application, not just something that is rich in functionality, but is also something that excites consumers. And that consumer can be a 5-year-old or a 90-year-old grandparent. It needs to be usable by them. They need to be able to get the experience that they think they are going to get out of that application. Making design an integral part of your development process is absolutely essential for that. Very quickly, we have a bunch of design resources in forumnokia.com. You have a presentation in this conference that goes into the details about user experience, and you will get more information also in the Forum Nokia booth. We have a developer testimonial here. I wouldn't punish you to read through the small fine print text. Basically, it talks about the difference in experience that the developer was able to bring to their application after they went through the user experience guidelines and the clinics that we in Nokia offer. So my message to you all is to think of design as an integral part of your development process and explore these resources and talk to the Forum Nokia colleagues. Now let's spend a little bit of time talking about the developer offerings. Over the years, and I myself, having come from traditional desktop C++ to C to Java to mobile technologies, the first time I got to Nokia, I saw the list of available technologies with which a developer can build application. My first reaction was a big gulp. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. But what we have today, and you may have heard about some of the announcements that we made in the last couple of weeks, is a very powerful and a simple paradigm that a developer can easily relate to. In very simple terminology, we have the smartphones that are based on MeeGo and Symbian platforms. And for those smartphones, you think about building application using one technology, one platform, and that is Qt. Okay? And for the mobile phones, it is Java. The reason being that I gave a talk in Bangalore last year, and at that time I mentioned that the innovation in software development has moved up the value chain has moved up the software stack. We no longer are talking about operating systems. We no longer are talking about things at that low level. What we are talking about are technologies with which you can still build very powerful native application. If you are a roll-up-the-sleeve kind of a developer, a programmer who wants to build the most powerful application you possibly can with the C++, you want to use Qt. If you are targeting the 500 million plus Series 40 phones, you want to target Java. You're going to hear about Java in another session by a Nokia colleague later in the afternoon. And that we also have a full-blown browser and a web technology pieces that is going to help you drastically improve your productivity. You will hear about one such web technology that's going to help you bring your web investments over to mobile in a session later today. So the point here is this. Think Qt if you are thinking high-end smartphones. Think Java if you are thinking mobile phones. And your browser content, web content will play. It's that simple and that powerful. So why is Qt such an integral part of our technology strategy, our platform strategy? Why was the announcement that we made a couple of weeks ago was fully banking on Qt as the technology that will bring developers the ability to bring their applications to market, whether they are targeting Symbian devices or MeeGo devices? Here are some of the examples. Qt is a proven cross-platform application framework. It already exists today from coffee makers to space missions. It has the largest install base across multiple screen sizes. And the key point I want to stress here is this. It is easy to design and develop. The investment on your part will drastically go down. The developers, thanks to the productive APIs, the very intuitive IDE, the developer environment, the documentation, SDKs, developers are able to implement functionalities 50% faster with 70% fewer lines of code. That is true gain in productivity, reduction in your investment with regard to the time that you need to invest upfront to develop your functionality and application. And we had a Hackfest of a kind several months ago in Europe, where we invited developers belonging to Apple, Android, and a whole bunch of different development communities, and we basically gave them the Qt SDK, Nokia Qt SDK, to test drive. The net result was that the Nokia Qt SDK ranked among the top. And it's again, I apologize for the small font size here, but the point I want to hit here is one developer walked up to me and said he felt like crying the first time he used Qt. And I was like, what? His reaction is, it is so simple that he felt like he wasted the last 10 years of his life developing hardcore Symbian code when he could have been using Qt. So if you haven't checked out Qt, I warmly invite you and recommend that you please check out Qt development from the Forum Nokia websites. I've been given 10-minute time, so I'm going to try to rush through this a little bit. Okay, once you design, you learn that there is a great development opportunity, you start to invest, you create a great design, you are convinced that this is going to be a killer application experience, you're investing in the right technologies, you built your application, and you found out how easy it is to develop using Qt. Great. Then what? We got to make money, right? Of course we got to make money. That's where Ovi Store comes into play. Remember the part that I said, the local to global. Guess what? Ovi Store is global. Today it is being downloaded. The content and applications in the store is being downloaded from consumers in over 190 countries. That is more countries than what is in the United Nations Active Registry, folks. All right? Just for comparison, okay? It supports largest range of devices. There is true operator support. And I'll talk about operator support in a few seconds, and this is critical. And these numbers are changing, just for comparison. About 6 weeks ago in Nokia World, we announced that operator billing is available with 91 countries. We got 8 more. Guess what? That number is going to be going up as we speak. Okay, we are constantly working on making it better and better. The last point is extremely important. Local relevance. Ovi Store and Nokia being as global as we are, we also pride ourselves in being the largest local company in all the different local markets. And we have proof points that says that the content is being downloaded developed by consumers in the local language, and the content has to be locally relevant. And that's where we in India have the unique ability to build content that appeals to the close to 1 billion population of India that is living not just in India but elsewhere in the world as well. Now, we talked about increasing your productivity and reducing your pain points with regard to development tools. How does it look when it comes to monetization and distribution? Well, guess what? We made an announcement in Nokia World 6 weeks ago that we are reducing the publishing fee to €1 and a one-time payment of €1. That's it. And I have the numbers from our competition just as a comparison proof point here. Okay? And in addition, we announced simplification of the operator billing model. The key point to remember is this. The operator billing model that was established before, it was great, but there were lots of tax calculations and so forth, and then the money was split between operator, Nokia, and developer, and the net result was the developer was not seeing as much of a chunk of change as we thought they would see. So we simplified it. As a result of the simplification, the developer payout from operator billing is going to go up well over 57% on a typical case, on a case-by-case basis. And number two, because of operator billing, okay, if a market, in a particular market, if credit card billing and operator billing is available, we have found out that consumers choose operator billing 13 times more than they would choose credit card billing. And all of that is going to be available in India soon. Harry Mullinen, a CEO of Off-Screen Technology, talked about how quickly he was able to get his application onto Ovi Store and how quickly he was able to see concrete results, downloads on a daily basis, and basically in 30 minutes, they are seeing a download of about 2,500 from Ovi Store globally from 190 consumers, from consumers in 190 countries. And this includes applications that are developed and distributed by Indian developers, and I would like to believe some of you are right here. In regard to the Indian developer success, the top 3 Indian publishers we are very proud to say their applications have exceeded the 1 million download marks, or some of them are here. Arch Mobile Solutions, India Games, and Spice Labs. And here are a huge number of India brands and other developers whose content is there in Ovi Store. And nothing would make me happier than to see each and every one of your application in Ovi Store, so that the next time I'm standing in a different corner of the world, I can get up and say, this is what our India developers did. I'm sure you will do that. Indian developer success continued in Nokia World. I was a judge in this Calling All Innovator Hackathon, where we brought consumer ideas. When we launched the Nokia N8 device, we asked consumers to say what kind of applications you want to see on this device. We then took those ideas, paired them up with our top developers, and that basically we just gave developers a whole barrel of coffee and all kinds of caffeinated beverages. The only thing we didn't have was an intravenous injection of caffeine. And we asked them to just have a go at it for 36 hours, and they did. And in 36 hours, they completed the application. I was part of the judging panel, and I was extremely delighted to see this kiddo app. Too bad my kids are a bit grown up, and they would have no use for this, but I would have loved to be able to use this application as a pacifier when my children were young, and I'm sure for your young children, or when you will have your young children, you will find it just as useful. Just check out that application from Ovi Store. And in our global Calling All Innovator contest, India developers did extremely well. And now I really need to hurry because I have less than 5 minutes to go. And here, one of you, instead of me standing here talking about Ovi Store and our support in taking developers from local to global, here is one of you giving that testimonial. Okay, an agile startup, they were able to become part of the Ovi ecosystem, the Nokia ecosystem through Ovi Store, leveraging the full support of Forum Nokia. And finally, okay, so far we have established what? Great business, mobile opportunity. You want to think local to global because anybody who may be living in any other part of the world may share something in common with you. So your app will resonate to them, whether they live in Canada or South Africa or UK or in India or China. So we have established that. We have established the technology. We have established that the store is great. It's universal. We give you everything you need to lower your, not just your investment, but also accelerate ways of maximizing your revenue. But we also need to appeal to the consumers. When you buy your Nokia N8, as an example, I have on my device what is known as a top app recommender. This tells me all the cool apps that are out there, customizable, by different countries. Your Nokia local representative can work with you to make your application one of those kind of recommendations. And you will hear about some of these marketing tools from a presentation later in the day. We do all other kinds of marketing, the 360 touchpoint marketing planning that we do. The message is very clear. We are going to be working with you. So both you and I, both you, your company, and Nokia can make our applications visible to consumer through our above the line, below the line, digital, social network marketing, print media marketing, you name it. We are going to work with you to make your content visible and discoverable by the consumers, period. And we will do this just like what I said about the case with the India Games, with a developer going from India to Canada. The teams here will help make that happen. So, to sum it up, India is the top downloading country in the world, and it has been ever since Ovi Store went to business about a year and a half approximately. That trend is simply going to continue. In addition to reduction, simplifying our developer strategy, simplifying our tool chain, we also made free, I repeat, free signing. Okay, Java verified and Symbian signed is now free from Nokia. For the developers, N8 and other Symbian 3 devices like C7, C6, C5, and E7 are all extremely cool. Build your application once. I have Angry Birds running on my couple of different Symbian 3 phones. And as soon as I enter home, both my kids want to grab those, and I don't get my phone at all. So you will run into that problem. It's a good problem to have. Trust me when I say that. And the platform is simplified. And last but not the least, you have our team working for you and with you. So the Forum Nokia folks, can you please stand up and wave your hands to the audience? This is the team, folks. They will be outside in the Forum Nokia booth. Come and have conversations. Show us, and let's have discussions on how we can mutually take our applications to a global market. And in summary, it is a global scale we are talking about, but it all begins here. It begins from within. And design, develop, and distribute to Ovi Store, locally and globally. And let's work with each other. Let's ride Nokia's marketing to excite consumers. That's what it's all about. On that note, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. I hope you will have a great rest of the conference. And together, let's go create some cool stuff, shall we? Thank you all.